what is going on in this world around us? When I don't actually know what's going on in the world, my answer is usually to build. Let's not burn it down. Let's not tell anybody to shut up, but let's be bigger. Let's be louder than the thing that we don't like in the world. When they try to make us serfs, when they try to make us renters, I want you to say one word back, which is owner.
My very first job, I made about $37,000 a year, and I climbed my way through a bunch of positions at Vanguard until I had a job where every call that I made and every increase in sales that I had led to more money for me. And the second that they told me that I couldn't earn more and that I couldn't be promoted, I started looking for new jobs. And then I went to Goldman Sachs. And at Goldman Sachs, I found a place where they paid you for performance to the maximum. And I kept working at Goldman Sachs until they wouldn't promote me. I went and found my next job. At State Street, I looked at the top performer, I looked them in the eye, and I said, I'm going to do more than you. I continued to grind until I beat that person. And then I left State Street when I finally wanted to get my own skin in the game and run part of my own company. And that took just about 8 years. I was financially free and I would never have to work for anybody ever again.
Bad Bunny wanted his own cannabis strain, and he wanted to own a piece of one of our companies in order to put his name on it and direct his audience to that brand. Now, when we went in, we gave this presentation. Here are the brands. Here's what you think. They gave their presentation. Here's Bad Bunny. Here's all the attention he would bring. And at the end, we said, okay, well, how much do you want to invest? And like, at what valuation? And they were like, that's cute. No, we don't invest. You pay us for the right to have Bad Bunny and use his name and for the privilege of his distribution. And we did one of those deals. If you apply the Main Street Millionaire methodology to audience, you have the same thing as private equity guys who have a lot of capital. You have attention. The problem is you might not know what your attention is worth, and you don't know how to do a deal yet to structure attention for equity. But the second that you figure out how to structure attention for equity, you'll never have to use your cash again.
Ryan Reynolds is now a billionaire, but it's actually not from acting. It's from this one thing that he calls fast advertising. So what he basically does is he bought a digital marketing company, and he said, for all the companies that I buy, you're going to take whatever's happening in the news and you're going to immediately create ads surrounding it. Peloton, for instance, where the chick was in the ad and her husband bought her an exercise bike and everybody was freaking out. Within 48 hours, Ryan's company had casted a script, shot an ad for his company, drafting off of this little story that was happening, stole all of their attention, and got a ton of sales. So that's Ryan's secrets to success. It isn't actually that he has millions of followers. It's that he took attention and fast execution and put them together to create billion-dollar brands again and again and again.
First deal, I did everything wrong. I overpaid, ran it myself. It was a job, not a business. But now I look at 5 key things. 1 is, will it bankrupt me? 2 is, does it have enough cash flow for me to be meaningful? I don't want to do a deal if it's going to make me $2K a year. It's probably not worth it. 3 is, this business, am I paying a multiple on profits? And it's anywhere from 2 to 5x. That's just what I pay for small businesses. Because I know for a small business, I can get my money back in 2 years. It's a pretty low risk. And then the next one is like, is it really simple? Do I understand the business? Because I'm not intelligent enough to run a biotech company. I call it SOWs, which is simple, old, weak, and stale businesses. I want them to be super simple to understand, around for a while so that I know they're going to continue to stay around, weak competition, and stale in that, like, this website sucked. There was no marketing. So I don't have to be the best deal maker because the business is so much upside optimization. So that's how you know.
There's a story about Elon Musk that I love that I tell my team all the time. He had a group of engineers on his plane, and the group of engineers said that the change in the business he needed to make was going to take them 6 months or a year to spin off. And Elon said, turn the plane around, we're going to go to the storage center directly, and we're going to fix the problem in 24 hours. And what do you think they did? They did it. It's this crazy idea that we make things more complex than we need because it makes us seem needed. And so I want you to think about this idea. Where in my life can I make things that seem complex a lot simpler?
I don't ever want somebody telling me again that I can't do what I want to do. And I don't want to feel the control of another human on top of me. And so for me, money is freedom. And I think it is really your ability to push back on the universe. Like, the more money you have, the more you get to exert your will on the world. And the less money you have, the more you get exerted upon. And so I didn't like that.
Right.
And so that was the moment that I was like, bah, I don't ever want that to happen again. And then the moment where I was like, ooh, I think I can actually do this was when, you know, do you remember like the first time you met a really rich person and you were like, they're not that smart? And I had one of those moments where I met.
You're like, how's this person have money?
Yeah, I was like, what? This guy?
What other advice have you got from billionaires? Like, what are the biggest takeaways
that you've had?
One of the guys that is a billionaire, but also spent some time with Warren Buffett, had a story about how he went to dinner with Warren. So he goes to dinner with Warren, and he's like, I have 400 questions for Warren because I'm worth this and he's worth this. And I'm all excited. And so I fly there and I go and sit down for dinner. And he's like, I couldn't ask him a question because he just kept asking me questions. All he did the whole time was pick my brain on what I thought here, what I thought there. And he had basically gotten all this information from me and I had gotten nothing from him. Yeah. And he's like, and so he's met a couple other people that know him too. And he's like, the smartest, richest people I know ask the most questions and try to prove their intelligence the least, because they know that the ones who collect the most knowledge have the biggest unfair advantage. Money is really attracted to the type of human that keeps asking questions. You don't actually have to know the answers often to make money. You need to ask the right questions. So I kind of trained myself every time I saw somebody with money or I got to know somebody with money. I didn't need to know anything else besides like, can I just ask them a lot of questions continuously? The bathwater method. This is how you buy a small business for maybe even $0 up front. In the US right now, there is something like 11 million small businesses for sale, except only 1 in 12 of those small businesses will sell inside of any calendar year. That means you have 11 million small businesses that will never sell. At some point, the owners of those small businesses will get tired, will get delinquent on payments, will need to move on. And so they are going to throw the baby out with the bathwater. And this is where you come in. You're going to be able to buy that business for maybe $0, but definitely a discount. When you shut down a business, it actually costs you money as a small business owner. In fact, on average, it costs $100,000 to shut down a small business. And so you are going to say, hey, Mr. Business Owner, why don't you let me buy your business for a percentage of the future profits? By keeping it open, I will pay the transaction fees to buy out your business. And in the future, I will give you a percentage of all profits for a certain period of time. The key here, though, is how do you find the people who are going to throw their babies out with the bathwater? And that is a company called BizScout. I can tell you more about it if you guys hit me in the comments. What do you tell a young person today if they want to make money?
The first is focus. Find something you're good at. People say to follow your passion. I think that's bullshit. Anyone who tells you to follow your passion is already rich. And forgive yourself if it doesn't involve college, because 2/3 of kids don't end up in college. Second thing is, I call it stoicism, but the one thing that's in your control is spending. If you're young, you got to figure out that savings muscle. And it's getting reward from other things, getting reward from fitness, from friends. The nice thing about being young is you don't need as much money to have fun. Third is time. For the majority of our time on this planet, we haven't lived past 35. So young people just cannot imagine they're going to live to be 100. And then the final thing where I really screwed up was the power of diversification. The way you get rich is probably through a little bit of concentration, but the way you stay somewhat rich is through diversification. And you don't need to be a billionaire. Just start saving some money. I can get you rich. That's the good news. The bad news is the answer is slowly.
I lost $12 million in a business transaction. Fraud. Somebody stole a bunch of money, moved out of the country to Dubai, couldn't get access to the assets.
What could you have done differently in that deal?
There's a Russian proverb, which is trust but verify. The biggest mistakes I've ever made are never hows but whos. It's always going to be a human that you trusted that you shouldn't have, as opposed to an action that you took that you shouldn't have. My dad has a great line, which is, you can't do a good deal with a bad guy. They know this secret. And so I actually think the American dream might start with those people we clapped for in the beginning, with the trades. I think it starts with you builders, because you're doing something bigger than just making money. You're bringing dignity back to work. If you guys have been on TikTok lately, they're trying to tell you guys work ain't good. It's not fun. You shouldn't have to do it. You'll be happier on the beach. Have you guys ever felt what it's like to feel no purpose? The void that you can stare into? And that is not what this country is about. It is not what this room is about. And I want you to remember one thing: that they are fucking scared of you. They are so scared that the ants that outnumber them hundreds to one will awake. And they will push back on the idea that the few should run the many. I salute every single one of you owners. I believe in a Main Street fucking revolution, and I think it all starts with every single one of you. I want you to stand up, and I want you to not give me applause. Not for me. This is for you. I want you to stand up, and I want you to look at your neighbors, and I want you to give a round of applause and a high five, and I want you to know that this is for all of you. And I want to end with one thing. Yeah, fucking high fives. I love this. I want you to end with one chant
that we have to yell across this country when they try to make us serfs, when they try to make us renters. I want you to say one word back, which is owner, the ultimate rebellion. So with me, give me an owner chant. 1, 2, 3, oh!